Thank you, sir, for being here. I know it's an awfully busy time for you, but can you give us an idea of the extent of damage that you're hearing about? When you're hearing the word devastation, where would you apply that adjective to the areas on the ground?
Well, quite honestly, this event is just beginning. We're seeing some initial damages come in from the initial brunt of the storm making landfall as a Category 4 last night due to storm surge. But honestly, a lot of the damage is yet to come because what we're looking at is torrential inland rains. Rainfall is going to be tremendous inland, and the river systems are going to have a hard time processing all that water. So a lot of damage is coming, unfortunately. This is going to be an unprecedented, long and frustrating event for the state of Texas.
And when you talk about the flooding, certainly the obvious, sir, when you obviously see that there's lots of rain in a path, but it also means the cessation of other utilities. You worry about downed wires. You worry about unfiltered water and dirty water, contaminated water for residents. I mean, talk about all the different angles of things that you've really got to keep an eye on so residents don't miss them as they think, well, the skies are sunny and maybe things will get back to normal real quick.
Right. So obviously there's a lot of uncertainty in this forecast, but what we know for sure is that the storm is basically stalling out over the state of Texas, which means rain bands are going to continue to come in periodically for multiple days. What we want citizens to know is, one, stay safe, shelter in place. Do not play in the flooded waters, drive in the flooded waters, or the flood waters in areas there. It's very dangerous. And if you look behind me, the National Response Coordination Center that FEMA operates ensures a unified message. And we realize that we're going to be facing not only environmental issues, we're going to be facing catastrophic housing issues, floodplain insurance issues. There's a multitude of things that we're already supporting as well, such as search and rescue.
Absolutely. And with regard to preparation beforehand, I mean, even things that seem very simple but can be complicated based on the devastation of the storm, things like providing meals for people. I mean, how well prepared do you think FEMA was able to be with the time frame they had in advance of Harvey?
We've been in the state for well over 48 hours in support of our state and local partners. And what our job is to fulfill the gaps that the state may have. And right now, for example, they've asked us to backfill their supply of life-sustaining commodities, such as bottles of water. We have meals ready to eat, ready to go. And as the storm starts to dissipate in some areas and Mother Nature allows us to start moving in, we will continue to support Governor Abbott, his efforts, and the local efforts to administer support to the citizens of Texas.
There are those that would suggest things from the federal government, being the White House, were not handled properly during Katrina because there was not a green light given to just give everything that FEMA needed right off the bat and then figure out details of paying for it and logistics later. What's the response you've gotten from the Trump administration as to what kind of a green light do you have with dealing with Harvey?
Excellent communication. The president expedited Governor Abbott's major disaster declaration within hours yesterday. And the bottom line is that I've communicated with the president directly less than 2 hours ago. We've been speaking every day, and constant communication between us and the White House and our partners within the Department of Homeland Security and the National Response Framework. So, we've come a long way since Katrina. And the bottom line is we're leaning forward, ready to support.
And with regard to the military, are you working part and parcel with the military? Has National Guard been activated in any regard?
Absolutely. So the National Guard is under the governor's control. We can actually backfill the National Guards with federal DOD Defense Forces, and they are here with us in the room behind me, as well as on the ground at the Regional Operations Center that we have in Region 6 in Texas.
So I know you've got a lot of experience in this area, and you think this is going to last a while. Can you give us any educated guesstimate? We're not going to hold you to it, but are you looking at weeks? Are you looking at months? What do you think, Brock?
The recovery from this disaster is going to be years. Now, as far as the hazards go, you're looking at weeks. Once the rainfall stops, the rivers have to process the water, and in some cases, it's going to rain in areas where the water can't filter out. So you're going to have stagnant water in some certain areas. The one concern that I have initially is people being isolated in their homes. and cooped up for multiple days and being able to get to the resources that you have. So we have partnerships with the private sector, trying to understand, pharmaceutical, retail stores or grocery stores, whether they're shut down or remaining open, so that we know how to better help the state tailor their assistance to the citizens.
And I'm looking at three particular storms of late that were pretty devastating for Texas: Tropical Storm Allison, Hurricane Rita, and Hurricane Ike. Hurricane Ike cost the state $22 billion worth of damage. Do you think Harvey may eclipse that?
This is going to be a very expensive and costly, frustrating event. I've been doing this for nearly 2 years, and I've never seen a hurricane impact a community like this one. Not only did you have a Category 4, a very rare Category 4, making landfall with the devastating storm surge, but now that's going to be coupled with multiple days of torrential rains. This is a hurricane that's going to be talked about by itself. It's going to be hard to compare this one to any other.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.